By early 1943, World War II had reached a critical turning point. American forces had made notable progress, particularly in the Pacific, pushing back against Japanese advances. Yet, morale often ran low among the beleaguered sailors and Marines. In Southeast Asia, the American position was tottering on the brink of disaster, as tensions between the US and Chiang Kai-shek strained diplomatic relations. The fighting in the China-Burma-India theater was relentless, and supply chains were constantly disrupted. It was against this backdrop that one man's mission to bring a small taste of home to American troops took shape. In the darkest days of war, where military provisions often fell short of addressing the emotional and psychological needs of the men, a simple piece of candy could make a world of difference. Letters from the front lines told of hardship and hunger, exhaustion and loss. But in those same letters, a common theme emerged: gratitude for an unexpected gift, a taste of sweetness amid the bitterness of war. This is the story of one man's mission to deliver a taste of home to those fighting to preserve it. David Gordon Ross, known simply as Gordon, was not a soldier nor a politician. He was an entrepreneur, a visionary, and above all a man who understood the power of a simple act of kindness. Born in Bruce, Ontario in 1904, Gordon's early life was marked by tragedy. His mother died just days after his birth, and his father, overcome with grief, sought revenge against the doctor who had failed to save her. But Gordon's story was not one of bitterness. Instead, he set out to build a future, moving to Vancouver as a teenager, where he ultimately found opportunity in the candy business. By 1927, his ambition led him to Los Angeles, tasked with running Welch's Candy Company's new West Coast operation. Welch's Candy, founded by James O. Welch, was known for its quality and innovation. Among its flagship products were Sugar Babies, Sugar Daddies, and Junior Mints, three beloved confections that would become staples in American households. Even during the wartime rationing of sugar and other staples, Welch's managed to maintain its high standard of quality, adapting to shortages without compromising the taste that consumers love. During the war, sugar was heavily rationed, with strict limits imposed on American households. Candy manufacturers had to find ways to stretch their supplies, often substituting ingredients or reducing production. Yet Welch's Candy, under Gordon Ross's leadership, found ways to maintain their signature taste, ensuring that those lucky enough to receive a treat could still experience a moment of sweetness. As war engulfed the world, Gordon Ross found a way to make Welch's Candy more than just a business. It became a morale booster for American troops. Through personal connections and strategic generosity, he sent countless boxes of chocolates, peppermints, and chewy confections to soldiers and sailors stationed around the world. He also actively solicited senior officers in the U.S. Navy, ensuring that his candy would be available in military commissaries and onboard naval vessels. Some might argue he was plying them with free sweets to secure lucrative contracts, but in war, every advantage counted. Shipping candy overseas was no small feat. The sweets had to endure prolonged sea travel, fluctuating temperatures, and the harsh conditions of war zones without degrading in quality. Welch's developed packaging and formulations that allowed its candy to arrive fresh and intact, bringing joy to soldiers even in the most remote corners of the world. The response was overwhelming. Letters poured in from the Pacific to the European front, from Navy captains to Army generals, expressing their heartfelt thanks. General Joseph Stilwell, a hardened military leader, wrote of his delight at receiving his favorite treat. His wife, Winifred Stilwell, sent a letter of thanks, calling it one of the few small joys her husband could cherish amidst the demands of war. General Joseph Stilwell played a crucial role in maintaining diplomatic relations with Chinese leader Chiang Kai-shek, while overseeing Allied operations in the China-Burma-India theater. His counterpart, General Frank Merrill, led the elite guerrilla unit known as Merrill's Marauders, engaging in grueling jungle warfare against Japanese forces. It is easy to imagine these two men, navigating the challenges of diplomacy and battle, momentarily setting aside the weight of war to enjoy a piece of Welch's chewy candy. One sailor aboard the USS Athene wrote of his astonishment when a care package arrived in the middle of the Pacific, carried aboard a destroyer that had crossed choppy waters to deliver candy. In a war where every resource was precious, Gordon Ross's contributions may have seemed small, but to those who received them, they meant everything. Welch's candy became a taste of home, a symbol of hope, and for many, a reminder of the life they were fighting to protect. Compared to the dense, bitter chocolate of military rations, Welch's chewy candies and chocolates were a revelation. Soldiers described the taste as a rare luxury, a reminder of childhood, something that lifted their spirits in the toughest times. Candy may seem a simple thing, but in the hands of a man like Gordon Ross, it became something more, an act of kindness, a reminder of home, a taste of victory. After the war, Gordon Ross's son, Gordon Carson Ross, followed in his father's footsteps, opening Carson's Candy Kitchen in the world-famous Los Angeles Farmers Market, operating from 1962 to 1986. Meanwhile, Welch's candy would eventually be sold to Nabisco, and Gordon Ross himself would be forced out by company principals to make way for members of the Welch family. But his legacy endured, not just in the confections he made, but in the joy he delivered when the world needed it most. The story of Gordon Ross and Welch's candy is preserved not in history books, but in the physical letters themselves. Letters written by soldiers, sailors, and officers who took a moment to express their gratitude for a simple, heartfelt gift. These primary source documents, neither archived nor housed in a museum, remain in the private collection of Gordon Ross's great-grandson. They serve as a reminder of the power of personal correspondence in shaping our understanding of history. In studying the past, it is not always the most famous names or the grandest battles that define history. Sometimes it is the ordinary people, the entrepreneurs, the workers, the quiet contributors, who make the biggest impact. Gordon Ross was one such man, and through his simple yet profound act of generosity, he left a legacy of kindness, preserved in ink, paper, and the sweetness of memory.